Hey, what is that? Thanks for joining us on the beach. We're rockhounding for fossils, petrified wood, and of course, agates. Karen Britt here, and Lily, with Ozone Fine Art Ventures. We find ourselves on a beach where Middle Miocene era fossils are coming out of the Astoria Formation reef and cliffs. 15 to 20 million years eroding away in those cliffs, wearing the topsoil like a bad toupee. The ocean winds, rain, and storms batter the rock formations, cleaving these treasures for us to find. Like this little spiral shell left by a gastropod or ancient snail. You can quickly tell the difference between a fossil shell and a modern one. Odds are the fossil will be filled with sedimentary rock. There's a good beach agate now. The sands are already starting to cover this washout, and soon these will be covered by feet of sand. Quick sunshine check. Agates are translucent or transparent. Ooh, there's a nice one. I'm announcing the winner of the giveaway later in this video, and these are all yours. The agates are always super fun to find. There are more ancient tales for this beach to tell. Like this little guy, possibly Polynices canalis, from the family Naticidae. But don't be fooled by cute. These were vicious carnivorous snails drilling holes through the shells of other snails, clams, and even one another. For how brutal these could be, it sure does polish up pretty. And who do we have here? These strange rock and shell dudes are responsible for my personal plunge into the research of the local fossils. These are believed to be Calicantharus carlsoni. They show the shell partially, and they always have a dual look to the matrix or host stone. It's sandstone and a porous rind. And that porous rind are the remains of the bryozoans who lived on the shells that were the favorites of the ancient hermit crabs. These two in the middle I freed from the host rock to be the first one to see them for millions of years. A friend of mine told me they delighted as kids to find agate macaroni. Seriously, if you didn't know what this was. It turns out to be a part of what is an ultimate beach score for some of us. Ah, there you are. Finding an agatized fossil shell never gets old. Imagining the luck of the shell staying relatively empty while being encased in sedimentary materials. Silicates then entered the spiral cavity of the shell by way of water and stayed behind, setting up and crystallizing into agate. Some keep their shells while others lose them, becoming an agate shell cast. The tumult of the ocean wearing them down, and in some cases, making agate macaroni. I polished a few of these to see what they looked like inside. Another bizarre tale of the beach would be the mass die-offs. You can find stones that contain hundreds of fossils all in the palm of your hand. A modern artist would be jealous of this great composition, polished for your enjoyment. There were all sorts of natural disasters that could lead to a mass die-off. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, temperature changes, leaving bunches of these bivalves resting together in the sediment. These may be Catherinella agestifrons. They have very strong hinges, which may explain why many of them are found together and closed. These others are Anodara. They're beautiful, and we have many of them on our beaches. As well, there are many different species. One way of differentiating species of bivalves is how thick the shell is. You can see this shell is pretty thick, and it took a great polish. Just like our spiral shells, the bivalves can pick up some silicates too. It's not unusual for zeolite, calcite, or quartz crystals to set up shop. When the entire bivalve is replaced, we call it a clam-belly. Clam shape is still apparent, and in this one you can see where the clasp or the escutcheon is deep and still impressed. A couple more clam-bellies, and one of them is on hydro. It's in another video, and that video link is in the description. Here's another one of our friends, the Anodara. They are notorious for looking like hearts when they're broken this way. Isn't it incredible that all the right elements were in place for such a spectacular mineral show? All from those mass die-offs. Need to take a moment here to shout out my favorite of all local fossil books, Fossil Shells from Western Oregon by Ellen J. Moore. This is an incredible aid to identification. My coffee-stained pages have seen many years of mornings in the car trying to ID a shell that I just found. Okay, back to hounding. What else is on this beach? Shells aren't the only fossils to find on the beach. Some of them quite large with impressive cellular structure. When we take a closer look, we can see our silicates have taken over again. So I took to polishing it to see those cells better. This structure suggests a marine mammal. It's possible it belonged to a prehistoric sea lion, whale, or dolphin. But there are many more fish in the sea than dolphins and whales. Like fish, for example. This large vertebrae may well have come from a fairly large fish. Hey fishermen, what's your guess on size with a fish bone this big? Leave it in the comments. Here's another one. Would you have spotted that? You definitely have to dial your eyes to see the fossils. Here are two mammal bones, one polished and the other from the video before this one. You can see by their structure and texture, they're very different than the fish bone right next door. Fish bone? Fish bone? Ooh, what are you? This mystery has the shape of a limpet or turban shell. I started to remove the matrix and it broke. No sign of calcium carbonate or nacre, just porous material like bone. What do you think it is? I'll just put you back right there, whoever you are. It's pretty incredible to imagine what these bones belong to and what a different world it was that they swam around in. The shoreline was miles farther east without the coast range impeding, so happy fish would have been able to swim almost to what is now the Willamette Valley. A recent scene of a not-so-happy fish, a lancet fish, repeating the cycle, maybe to be found a fossil again someday. You really never know what you're going to find on the beach. And here's another fossil thing, neither a shell, mammal, or fish. How about a collaboration? Over the course of time, you can surmise there's been plenty of wood on this coast, no matter where the Oregon coastline was. This is called teredo wood. It almost looks more like a pudding stone. And of course, we have plenty of your garden variety petrified wood. Okay, but whose garden were these growing in? Wood needs some pretty specific conditions in order to petrify. You need an oxygen-lacking environment that retards the decay rate of wood, while silicates and minerals permineralize the cell walls and voids of the wood material. You get the different colors of the petrified wood from the minerals, and beautiful ribbons of agate sometimes. These are all examples of teredo wood, shipworm wood, or peanut wood. It's the fossil collaboration I was talking about, the creation of a tree or wood, and the shipworm or the mollusk Teredo nivalis. But shipworms aren't worms at all. They're a bivalve casually called termites of the sea, that range from a few centimeters to up to a meter in length. As they chomp their way through ships, docks, and any submerged wood, They create a calcareous tube lining in the excavated burrow that we can see here. That burrow holds up better than the wood in many cases and fills with sediment while the wood is petrifying. And, in lucky cases, it fills with silicates to create glassy windows of agate, quartz, and zeolite into their snaky chambers. We also have what appears to be non-mineralized wood. Buried wood can be protected and tissues remain, but are for all intents and purposes mummified. A lot of these woods are black. Exposure to high temperatures, whether from wildfires or pyroclastic flows, may cause a wood to be converted to charcoal. Coalification also happens with a gradual metamorphosis, like bogwood. You can see them here, scattered among the fossil shells in this middle Miocene reef. What intense thing happened here to create this? And here's Steve to tell me it's time.
Oh, hey! Is it time for the Rockhound Podcast? Oh no, it's time for the giveaway. Well, one of you is going to get the array of agates that I cut and polished from a past beach hounding expedition, and the lucky winner is in this hat. No. Okay, this is better. Good luck, everyone, and thanks again for tuning in and subscribing and liking. And let's see, how about Sparky Girl 76? Congratulations. Go ahead and send me an email through the contact page at ozonefineart.com and we'll get you those agates. And thank you, everyone, again, for subscribing and tuning in and enjoying the channel.
Sharing this with you is awesome. Science is exciting because of the quest for the answers to these mysteries. With wonder, it's a pleasure to learn about our environment. As a geology and science enthusiast, I welcome your knowledgeable comments. Please share. Spring and summer bring winds and tides that blanket our beaches with sand and dunes. Soon, these amazing reefs may be covered over until next year, or it could be years before we see them again. We always feel lucky to be able to find their treasures and work hard to preserve these beaches. For now, we'll say goodbye, but as usual, I'll leave you with a closer look at some of today's incredible specimens. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe to support the channel, visit us at ozonefineart.com, and keep creating.